Well, the Prime Minister will today announce a long-awaited COVID-19 inquiry. Before I lose you, examining the response of state and federal governments to the global pandemic. To break it down, let's bring in today medical expert Dr. Nick Coatsworth in Canberra. Doc, good morning to you. I always say, not that anyone listens, nor should they, but history will not judge our response well to the pandemic. How will the inquiry judge it?
Carl, that's an interesting comment. I might challenge that. I think history will judge our response well, but it wasn't perfect by any stretch of the imagination. Remember, Carlos, this was an unprecedented government intervention in our lives in the name of public health. And I think it's critically important that we really have a look at that with a blowtorch if necessary to examine how we made the decisions, why we made the decisions, and ultimately would we make them again if a similar disease turned up next year.
Let me counter your argument. It's hardly a blowtorch. It's more like a candelabra. If you're going to do anything, why would you have an inquiry that has no teeth and not a royal commission? Muscle up.
Yeah, it's a really good question, and that's a political question that the PM and Minister Butler will have to answer today. The Royal Commission is, of course, the highest form of public inquiry in the land, and why aren't we having the highest form of public inquiry for an event so significant, the most significant crisis event since World War II? Of course, they'll have their reasons that they'll put forward, but as a former Deputy Chief Medical Officer myself, my role is just going to be to get behind whatever form of inquiry there is and give the evidence that I need so we make good decisions next time.
Some are saying it's not a Royal Commission because of this reason, and this is not anyone else saying, it's just me alluding to it, that maybe it was because of the way the state governments ruled the roost. I mean, who knew they had so much power before the pandemic? It was a long way from a coordinated response. The coordinated response it probably needed to be, right?
Well, I'd put that challenge to the commissioners, and they will be announced this morning, but that challenge to look in depth at the state government responses. And most importantly, we've got 8 different states and territories of wildly different capacity and capability. If you've got a global pandemic, is it really sensible to have all 8 of them going alone, or should we have a truly national response? And this is a big question, Carl. Should state and territory public health powers be suspended in a pandemic and we only have a national response?
And look,
that is the depth of the question that we need
100%,
to answer.
and look at the flow-on effects from the pandemic of locking our kids up for so long, the flow-on effects of that mentally. I mean, where to begin? Good luck also, Nick, and this is right in your wheelhouse. Getting a vaccine up in arms as quickly next time around. There are plenty who don't want to go there again.
Well, I think one of the things we have to do is examine how we rolled out that vaccine and whether, and I think the answer is probably yes, we diminished levels of confidence in our vaccine program amongst a proportion of Australians because of some of the choices we made and the way we did it, and in particular the reporting of adverse events to the Therapeutic Goods Administration. That sort of thing does need to be looked at and I do believe improved upon.
Very good. It'll be must-see viewing tonight. Thank you, Doctor. Appreciate it. Sarah.
Why do I feel like we're going to hear a lot of I do not recall? Thank you, Carlos. Hey there, Today fans. Sarah and...
What's my name again?
Oh my God, Carl.
Hey, thanks for watching our YouTube channel, though. Subscribe now for more news, special reports and amazing Aussie stories.
And Carl misbehaving,
Whoa,
of course.
That never happens.
Always happens.
What's she talking about?